up, world? This is Salim with Flip for Figs, and today I'm doing a legacy review of one of my favorite UCS Star Wars sets of all time, set number 10143, the Death Star II from 2005. I'm going to talk to you about why I love it so much, and also why even now, 2 decades later in 2025, it's still a great add to your collection. Let's get into it.
Flip for Figs.
When I flip, you flip, we flip.
Alrighty, folks. So the UCS Death Star II was launched in 2005 with 3,449 pieces, making it the largest LEGO set of all time upon its release. And at the time it launched, the last UCS set I had bought was the Star Destroyer, which came out in 2003. And the time it was revealed, I thought it was kind of ugly. I thought, no, spheres don't belong in LEGO form. It just doesn't work. And then as time went on and we got the other Death Stars, when the Death Star came out in 2008, I got back into LEGO in the 2010s and I bought that one. And when I had it, I thought it was really cool. Obviously, it was a playset style and it had all the figures. And it was a great set to have. And I still kind of had a desire for a display level Death Star. And so, several years later, we heard rumors that a new Death Star was coming out after the one in 2008 had retired. And so at the time, I thought they would give us like another display model, but they didn't. They just relaunched the one from 2008. And so after that, I had still been on the fence. And then finally in the pandemic is when I picked this setup. I found it locally with box and instructions. It had been taken really great care of. And, once I built it and had it in my collection, it quickly became one of my favorites, which is funny because like I said, at first I didn't think I would like it so much, but something about its display presence, I think it's a lot larger in person than I thought it was. And then just this whole portion here, the revealed, damage portion, just looks so incredible on display. And even now when people come and see my collection, this is the first thing that draws their attention, and it's the first one that makes them go, wow, how did you build that? Even though I have all these other huge Star Wars sets, all the modular buildings, the Falcon, everything like that, this is the one that still seems to be most impressive to people who are not, LEGO builders themselves. And it's because it looks really complicated. Even though these two destroyed sections are essentially the same section repeated, and then just, one is upside down. When you're looking at it, or even from a distance or up close, it just looks like a lot of work, was done to put it together. The build process can be a little bit repetitive because a lot of these, this middle section is essentially the same build over and over again. It's also really satisfying once it all comes together. And in terms of, if you can't find it with box and instructions, or it's too steep for you with box and instructions, a lot of the pieces are actually really common, especially since this was one of the first large sets that included the new kind of bluish gray pieces. I love it. I think the design still holds up now all this time later. And we saw that when the Globe was launched a few years ago, it still had these kind of wedges, the space between the wedges, which I think is why a lot of people were turned off of it. Even though LEGO engineering has come a long way since 2005, I can't think of any way to make a sphere without using large specialized pieces, which would kind of take away from the build quality and everything like that. There's no play features, but I do love that they included the laser, and I love that they also included a in-scale Super Star Destroyer, because also if you watched my UCS Star Wars tour, you know that a lot of the biggest Star Wars sets include a miniature model to kind of show how it's in scale with the other largest ships in the galaxy. So, the Rebel Blockade Runner was included with the Star Destroyer. The Star Destroyer was included with the Super Star Destroyer, and the Super Star Destroyer was included with the Death Star II. So I love that they included that. It's the only, it's not a play feature, but it is nice that, they fleshed out a gray ball as much as they possibly could with this set. We're 20 years later from its launch, and, in the beginning of this year, I heard rumors that a new Death Star was coming and that it would be $1,000. So my mind immediately went to something that would look like this, but just maybe larger or more detailed, or maybe they finally figured out a way to make a spherical look. And then as time went on, we leaks would drop saying, oh, it's actually going to be a playset style. So I kind of had a sigh of relief because I love this set, but I don't need two UCS Death Star IIs in my collection. That's just excessive. Unless there was something drastically different about the other one, even though it was still a display model. I don't know how different you could make it. But either way, even now in 2025, this set is still going to be unique. Well, I think if it was a UCS Death Star and it was just the entire sphere, it would be super boring. So I love that they went for this damaged, this Death Star 2 kind of under construction look for it. I think that's incredible. And, looking back at the other sets we were getting in 2005, I think, it was way ahead of its time. And I still think it holds up so well all these years later. And so I am here to tell you that this is actually my favorite UCS Star Wars set. I love it so much. I know I'm in the minority. I think when you have the Venator, you have the Falcon, you have the Imperial Shuttle, it's hard to think of this as the best. But for me, I love it. It's the first thing that captures my attention when I walk into this room, and there's a lot to see. But yet, every time I'm in here, I always, have eyes for this set. And so, yeah, I think if you have an opportunity to pick it up, do so. I don't think we'll be getting anything like it for at least the next 4 to 6 years, if we ever get anything else like it. So, yeah. Hope you enjoyed watching this video. I hope that if you were on the fence about getting this set or trying to decide if you should, I hope that I helped make your decision a little bit easier. I love this set, and I think among the other Star Wars sets, even now, 20 years later, it still has a very special place in the collection. But yeah, thank you for watching, and I hope to see you next time.
When I flip, you flip, we flip.